Imagine the Earth as an apple. Cut the Earth into 4 quarters. One part is covered by land, the rest by water. Cut the land in half. One of these halves is covered with mountains, deserts, or ice. Cut this last piece into quarters. 3 of these are rocky, wet, hot, infertile, or covered with roads and cities. Only 1/32 of the apple remains. The peel of this section represents the topsoil that must feed the world. Modern agriculture is war. Defoliants, herbicides, insecticides, fertilizers, fungicides, and pesticides. At the end of World War II, the military-industrial complex needed new markets for its surplus chemicals. The agricultural-industrial complex was born. We've taken the chemicals so adept at annihilating the enemy and turned them against nature and ourselves. Toxic oceans, toxic water, toxic air, and toxic food are the result. From the chemical deserts of factory farms to our inner lives, our world as a place of nature is unrecognizable.
Here we've got earthworms, the unpaid servants. Oh, look at that, wow.
He has a fascination for worms.
Well, each one of those has got a name, you know.
He knows more about soil than almost anyone on this planet.
And the actual castings.
His favorite animal is the cow.
This is cow dung. It's been in here for about, probably 4 months, 5 months now.
He loves to stir cow dung in a bucket. A gardener from New Zealand and a bucket of cow dung. Could this simple recipe be a way to save the world? Peter Proctor is the father of modern biodynamics, an arcane form of agriculture that was begun early last century.
What we need are some cups.
For 6 decades, Peter's been farming, building gardens, and advising farmers all over the world. In the last 15 years, he has visited India 25 times.
What we're going to take with us? You know, the packing is the next thing, isn't it? Yes. So what do you reckon?
Peter and his life partner, Rachel Pomeroy, a botanist and astronomer, are now leaving their home permanently. and moving to India.
Hugely heavy. Do I really want to go to India? No. I request you, please. Oh, Cootie, I don't really, look, you know, you're a nice person, I'd like to work with you, but no, I don't think I'll come. I request you, I really request you must come. Anyway, eventually I said yes. I got a picture of how possible all this was. I mean, the size of the country just blew me away, and the numbers of people and the traffic and so on. It was just, but I could see underneath there was this connection to the land, and this was when I heard the goddess of prosperity lives in cow dung, and that on every cow resides 40 million gods. 40 million gods? Yes, every hair, sir. That represents a god. When we must say goodbye. Fine. Soon we'll be flying far across the sky.
For Peter Proctor, there are no half measures. He is almost 80. He has a glass eye and boundless energy. He is hard of hearing, but for him, the earth sings. Peter sees India as the completion of his life's work. He believes biodynamic agriculture may be the last chance this planet has. Most of us are far removed from the fields where our food is grown. Separating us from food, our primary source of life, is a vast, globalized distribution system controlled by multinational corporations.
Monsanto is a company which has monopolized seed, almost have monopolized seed, and its only objective is that every farmer in the world whosoever buys seed buy from Monsanto. And in last 10 years, I would say that more than 25,000 farmers have committed suicide because their cost of production has increased, and most of the seeds which they are buying are failing them. And most of the seeds are from Monsanto because it's mostly the BT cotton seeds, the maize seeds, and the wheat seeds which Monsanto has come up with. It's those seeds, hybrid seeds, which are failing in the farmer's field.
The fight against corporate control of our food is far-reaching. It is the fight for food sovereignty. When corporations dictate what farmers must grow, they are controlling what all of us eat. The outcome of the battle for agricultural control in India may dictate the future of the earth. Peter Proctor is a new type of hero, Rather than battling the problem, he simply lives the solution. Ignoring the machinations of the multinationals, Peter keeps his hands in the soil. After 15 years of travel in India, he has seen a network of biodynamic farms fan out across the country. He believes a revolution is happening, one farmer at a time. Sarvdaman Patel is one of those farmers. Sarvdaman completed his education in the United States, gaining a Master's of Agronomy at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
My first experience in organic farming, without thinking, I just did it. 2 acres of elephant yam, and it was very good success. So I tried it with bananas. It was a miserable failure, we lost money. So I gave up again. I said I can't do organic, I don't know anything about it, I left it. Went back to my chemical farming. What had really happened was the soil was becoming dead. It was just an anchor for the plants. It was not a living soil. The whole day I was there, Barnes and Nobles, it was a big store. So I was looking at the agriculture section and suddenly my eyes went into the organic section. Sat down and read the books from morning till about from 10 till about 5 o'clock in the evening. And that's the real beginning of understanding what is organic farming.
It's probably the best biodynamic farm in the world. That's a big statement, and probably other farms just equally as good, but the ones I have never seen a farm better than this. I would say, completely, in all facets really. And we look at this wheat we're looking at the moment over here, it's just brilliant. It's standing up so straight and tall, just like a human being. It's a real connection to the ego of the human being. And it's the start of life.
Developed at the beginning of last century by the anthroposophist Rudolf Steiner, a biodynamic farm is totally self-sufficient, self-contained, and dedicated to producing good food for the benefit of mankind. So what makes a perfect farm?
India is one of the richest countries in the world, not because of the gold, not because of the diamonds, not because of the rubies, but because of the biomass. What we can grow on our soils, because of the wonderful temperature, wonderful climate, the moisture, the warmth, the compost is being made from this biomass.
Sarvdaman provides a public service to his local town, collecting leaves that would normally be burnt, while he persuades the local council to become biodynamic. The transformation of dead material into life-giving compost is the cornerstone of biodynamics.
On top of this, they would be putting the cow dung and some water and some rock phosphate and some seaweed, and it becomes in situ, almost doing it as it goes.
Leaves, grass, animal manures, food, and garden scraps, practically anything natural can be composted.
Observing the labor, doing it the right way.
25% of the garbage in our landfills and incinerators could have been composted.
See there, a small pile is left from the last one, which is kind of an inoculation for the new piles which are being built. It has the Azotobacter, Aspergillus, Rhizobium, everything. You don't need any culture from outside.
Fish, 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 Maulana, fish, 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 Maulana.
Compost is the only way to increase the humus content of soil. Without humus, soil is lifeless. The cow, venerated in India, is central to biodynamic farming. With its 4 stomachs, it is a unique animal of digestion. Cow dung forms the basis of many biodynamic preparations. The cow pat pit, known as CPP, is one way of processing cow dung. Detractors call it muck and magic, especially as the recipe contains mystical preparations.
So you're getting the processes, not actually quantities of, we're getting the processes of those essential elements that can work in a very natural way. Bringing the effect of the planets into your land. You certainly get very good crops which generally do not have trace element deficiencies. A lot of people just don't like touching dung. They think, ooh, horrible stuff. But actually, in fact, once you start using it, once you've used it, you know, you've moved the stuff and actually worked with it, it's got a lovely feeling, you know. And actually, it's very interesting that the Indian farmers know that it has the sterile qualities, that if you have a cut, they'll put fresh cow dung on the cut. And that actually sort of sterilises it and you don't get any infections, which is unusual. It's very hard to believe that, but this is the fact. There's very little smell of that. Maybe the camera can't smell it, but rest assured it's quite sweet. Rudolf Steiner does point out that the only things that don't come from heaven, you might say, are phosphorus and potassium. And all the other elements actually are there in the atmosphere, which can be brought into your soil through good farming techniques. So we have a couple to show the actually mixing air into the cow dung. What we do is in biodynamic agriculture, you are farming the soil, you're also farming the air. But if you have nothing, you know, if you have dead soil, nothing can happen.
Fire 2, fire 3, fire 4, fire 5, fire 6.
The 8 preparations that arouse so much suspicion are very simple.
Dandelion preparation, which is to do with the silica.
They are mixes of herbs, like yarrow and chamomile, and minerals like silica and calcium, all connected with planetary forces.
Every time you do this, there's a vortex form. One vortex, 2 vortexes. One vortex, 2 vortexes. We all... This then gives a blessing. The compost of the CPP. Fine.
There are some people that when they hear about biodynamics, they think it's strange. And the reason why they think it's strange is it's that whole voodoo doo-doo thing that I talked about before. It's strange because of the preparations. That's the big thing. That you have these 8 preparations that Steiner came up with, and in my wildest dreams, it would be very difficult for me. Well, maybe in my wildest dreams I could probably come up with something like this, but they're so different, these preparations. That people actually take cow manure and they pack it in a female cow's horn, and they bury these horns in the ground for 6 months. And they do it when the moon's in a certain phase, and they usually do it around the fall equinox.
Na
they usually dig them up around the spring equinox, and that cow manure that looked green and yellow and smelled like cow dung is now basically just sweet-smelling humus or compost.
Here we go.
When they dig it up.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. There we go. Beautiful stuff.
I mean, most people think this is an organ of attack. They wouldn't guess that it's an organ of digestion. The cow, again, from Rudolf Steiner, he says the horn is to do with digestion, and that the vapors from the stomach go through here, through the sinuses, up into the stump with the holes, and then returns back through the stump, through the sinuses, back in the stomach, going up and down all the time. And these vapors of digestion improve the digestion of the cow. Now, a cow, you know, has got 4 stomachs. It's got something like 15 meters of intestine. Just imagine, 15 meters of... And it's all enhanced by the vapor returning from the horn. The horn is an important part of the health of a cow. But the cow is all the time ruminating, chewing, and that digestion gas is going up and going back again, up and back. So this has a holding effect. So when we put the dung in there, you still have the digestion process going on. And so the digestion actually helps break down that cow dung, that fresh cow dung, into the material I showed you, that preparation that we sprinkle around.
Once matured, the cow horn compost is stirred into water for an hour, or mixed using a flow form. Stirring by hand or flow form creates a vortex, increasing the capacity of water to support life. At the moment the movement is reversed, chaos is created. Out of chaos, a new vortex is formed. The water is imbued with one of the basic principles of plant life. Order arising out of chaos. The mixed preparations are then sprayed in homeopathic concentrations. Microorganisms in the soil are activated. Plants deepen their